Vajra Prajna Paramita, waving the zither, Tianlu, Master Tripitaka, Kumara, historical meaning, no virtue, no explanation, the seventh scripture, empty Bodhi, Yiyun, and Tathagata, De Anodara, 3 seconds, 3 Bodhi, Tathagata, has a dharma, empty Bodhi, as I explained the Buddha's book, there is no fixed dharma, Ming Anodara, 3 seconds, 3 Bodhi, no fixed dharma, Tathagata, why? Therefore, the Tathagata's teachings are not desirable and cannot be explained. Illegal is not illegal, so there is a difference between everything because it is not illegal. Explanation. Buddha asked Shubodhi, what do you think? Does the Tathagata really have the supreme and perfect enlightenment? Tathagata tells all kinds of teachings for all sentient beings, but is there a persistent idea of saying something in Tathagata's mind? Kupoti replied, as far as I understand what the Buddha said, because everyone has different causes and conditions for enlightenment, there is no certain method to enlighten all sentient beings, and the Tathagata said that everything is natural by self-nature. Come to adapt to the opportunity of all sentient beings, and say that there is no attachment to a certain dharma. Why? Because the dharma mentioned by the Tathagata is for all sentient beings. The 5 Buddha natures are the noumenon of the clear realm, so you cannot be attached to the appearance or the dharma, nor can you be attached to words, nor can you be attached to the dharma, or play with emptiness. This is so that all victories come from inner purity, cultivation, and understanding. There are differences in the degree of government affairs. According to the law, the birth is 8th. If the scripture is empty of Bodhi, the meaning of Yunhei, if a person reaches 3000, the 7 treasures of the great 1000 worlds are used without losing the merits obtained by the world, it is better to have many merits. That is, the nature of merits is not merit, so the Tathagata said that if a rich person holds it in this sutra, and even 4G records to tell others about his blessings, from then on, they all enter and exit the so-called Buddhist Dharma. The Buddha says that the empty Bodhi, if someone does it with the treasures of gold, silver, and the 3000 worlds, do you think this person has gained many merits? Shubodhi replied, and the world blessed said, of course there are many. Why? Because this is just the merits and blessings in the world. The blessings in the world can be measured by how much. This has nothing to do with the invisible and formless merits in our self-confidence, that cannot be counted in the boundless clear realm. However, employment in the world. As far as the blessings received, for example, this person's merit is more than the Tathagata's blessings. If someone holds the whole part of the money, or moves in it, he only uses the 4 skills in it, to not only make himself purified. Yeshuan said that to enable others to purify the merit, then the merit he received is more extraordinary than the above mentioned, to give Sodford the 7 treasures of 3000 worlds. Why? Shubodhi. Because all Buddhas, that is, the supreme realization of becoming Buddhas and other enlightened Bodhidharma, are all born from this cloud of flesh essence. The purpose of the so-called Buddhism is to guide all sentient beings to return to enlightenment from loss. When they are enlightened, Buddhism does not need to be divided into one fragrance and no fragrance. The 9th Sutra door is the empty Bodhi, meaning cloud combined with empty Bodhi. I have achieved the fruit step of empty Tapana. Why is the world honored? Therefore, empty Tapana is called entering the flow without entering the color and fragrance. The meaning is that Situohan can do evil things, and I got Situo's letter to Gwabuti's words. Why is this the world honored? The name of Stuohan exchanges, and 15 exchanges make the name of Stohan Subhuti in Yiyunhe. Nahan can do evil things, I can get the fruit of Anahan without Bodhi's words. So why is the name of Anahan? But in fact, everything is not coming, so it is called Anahan Shubodhi. Yiyun and Arahant can do it, so I can get the Arahant way, tutoring Puti's words, and why the world honored tells the story. I have Dharma, Arahant Shizun. If an Arahant does the world, I get the Arahant way, and ascend to my people. The recipient, the world-honored Buddha, said, I have to compete for the first among the 3 beauties. I am separated from the Arahant world-honored, and I don't do things. I am separated from the Arahant world-honored. If I do my Arahant world-honored, I don't talk about empty Bodhi. Lana practitioner is named Subhuti by virtue of empty Bodhi. It is Leolana's practice to explain the Buddha's empty Bodhi. What do you mean? That is to say, in the cultivation realm, will the saint who goes abroad have the idea of going abroad? Kubodhi replied. The world-honored said no. Why? Because although the practitioners of Zhengde Shengwen who go abroad have entered the class of saints, the practitioners of Zhengde Shengwen who go abroad do not cling to the proven voice of going abroad in their hearts, nor do they cling to the gorgeous beauty, pleasant voice, fragrant delicious food, comfortable touch, and all dharmas, so they can be called the saint of Yijing's voice, of going abroad. The Buddha said again, question, what do you mean? Can a saint of Li Jingde's second country of ascension to literature come up with such thoughts? Can I take the idea of ascension to literature to the second fruit? Shufuti replied, the world honored said no. Why? Because although the inner realm of practitioners in the second country of Zhengde Zhengshenwen has reached the peak level, when their hearts come into contact with the outside world, there will still be a lifelong phenomenon. We call this phenomenon a lifelong exchange. Although his hearts will also produce the phenomenon of lifelong extinction, but they will not have the second thought of birth and death because of it. When the interest rate rises in the front, the mind is not attached to birth and death. This is the true practitioner of righteousness. The Buddha asked Shubodhi right and said, what do you mean? Can a practitioner who has been promoted to the third country have such thoughts? Can I use the thoughts of the third country with a righteous body? Shubodhi replied, no. Why? Because practitioners in the third country of Zhengde can be in the center of all kinds of phenomena, and there is no tearing fire and desire, which is true. Buddha, a practitioner in the third country of Shengwen, asked Shubodhi right, what do you mean? Will the saints who are taking the Arahant kingdom have the idea of my Arahant kingdom? Taking Bodhi's answer, the world honored said no, and he wouldn't have such thoughts. Why? Because in Arahant's mind, all grammar has long been destroyed, so he is called Arahant. If the sage who is righteous and fruitful Arahant will have the idea that I have achieved Arahant fruit, then his mind will be clinging to others, sentient beings, and recipients, and he will be far away from the realm of Arahant. First, honored. Once I have praised me like this, praised me for being the first to practice Liu Kung Fu among all disciples, I am still silently ashamed. If so, Buddha, you wouldn't say that I was a better practitioner than Jijing. It's because my heart has nothing to gain, nothing to lose. I don't cling to all images and actions, and I have no intention to ask for nothing. That's why you praise me as a quiet practitioner. The 10th scripture of the solemn and quiet earth is divided into the Buddha's 10th scripture. The Buddha tells the empty Bodhi, in the Yiyun Hitathagata, is in the burning lamp, Buddha's grammar. There is nothing to gain. Why is it that the floating soil of Zhuang Yuan is not solemn? It is called solemnity. All bodhisattvas who drink sattva should have a pure mind, and they should not pay attention to color. The body and mind should not help to give birth to fragrance and vinegar. The mind should have nowhere to live, and give birth to a guilty body. For example, there is a person like the king of the empty mountain in Yiyun River. Why the Buddha said that the non-body is a great native language. Shubodhi replied, the world honored said that this is not the case. Why? Because what you said, the solemn Buddha land, means returning to the pure Buddha nature, not the solemnity of the image. Buddhist friends said that because of this, the great bodhisattvas who have achieved Kubodhi should have a pure mind like this. Do not be attached to it, and thoughts are generated on the basis of color, fragrance and touch. Otherwise, you will be blinded and bound by the 6 vehicles. How can your mind be quiet? Therefore, we should give birth to a guilty bodhi, with no attachment. For example, someone whose body is as big as the king of the empty mountain. Do you think his body shape is very big? Shubodhi answered, and the world honored said, very big. But although this person's body shape is very large, it can't be called a big ginseng. Why? Because no matter how big its body is, it will have birth and death. And master, what you are talking about is that flying is like a real body, confident that its own body needs too much to surround the Dharma realm, helpless and formless. How can it be compared with the tangible virtual mountain? This is what can really be called a great god.